Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is Mr. Ms. English, the show where we take words you use without thinking, words you assume are, innocent, and expose the absolutely obnoxious, complex history lurking inside them.
Today, we are tearing into the noun idea. It seems simple, right?
So simple.
It's just a thought, a vague concept. But you gave us the sources, and let me tell you, this word has more philosophical baggage than a freshman studying Kant.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You know how some words have a humble beginning? Not this one. This word traces its lineage back to the literal, perfect, divine blueprint of reality.
And now
we use it to describe whether it's a good idea to start drinking coffee after 4 p.m. The audacity is staggering.
So our mission today is to uncover the full weight of that audacity. We're tracing how idea-born in the philosophical stratosphere as the Greek idea got dragged down to earth, vulgarized by everyone from lovelorn Elizabethan poets to cold, calculated 18th century empiricists.
Until it became the common, flimsy, six-way structured thing it is today. Okay, let's unpack this mess and find out why we keep using a word that was completely broken centuries ago.
Let's do it.
So to understand the trauma this word has endured, we have to start with its deep past. The etymological roots of idea go way, way back to the Proto-Indo-European root wade.
It means to see.
Exactly, to see.
And that's fascinating because it connects to so many fundamental English words like vision and even history. Historically, knowing something was often equated with seeing something.
Right, so the ancient Greek word idea literally meant form, shape, look. It was something visible.
But visible wasn't enough for Plato.
Oh, here we go.
Plato walks onto the scene and decides, no, the visible things are garbage. He grabs ide and transforms it into the capital F form, the absolute, unchanging, supreme pattern of true reality that exists outside our messy world.
This is the critical moment, isn't it?
It's the original sin of the word. For Plato, the form of the good or the form of beauty was the idea. Everything we experience on Earth is just a rotten, imperfect copy, a mere shadow of the real thing.
So the idea was the perfect original blueprint.
Precisely. So when English finally adopted the word in the late 14th century, it was strictly academic, carrying this massive philosophical, almost religious weight.
One early definition translated it as the concept of a thing in the mind of God.
Imagine that. Imagine having to use that every time you had a random thought about lunch.
And this weighty heritage is exactly why you, the listener, often find yourself wondering about the connection between idea and ideal.
They share roots for a very good reason. The sources confirm that an archaic meaning of idea was literally a standard of perfection and ideal.
So we can genuinely blame Plato for the fact that a word that now describes a plan for a terrible dating show used to mean the absolute flawless, perfect model of something.
It's a spectacular fall from grace.
What's amazing is how rare this word remained for over a century and a half.
Oh yeah. We see a handful of uses, like a 1430s reference to the divin ID, maintaining that high-minded Neoplatonic vibe. It was an elite word.
It sounds like a word only used by guys who wore velvet and thought they were better than everyone else.
That's pretty accurate. It was barely visible in the lexicon until the late 16th century. And then, here's where it gets really interesting. The word just explodes during the 1590s.
The flowering time of the English Renaissance.
Which is code for
the moment everyone started trying too hard.
Exactly. This establishment was fueled by a sudden influx of Neoplatonism, which came streaming into England via Italian poets like Petrarch and French writers. Suddenly, every poet needed a word for their lofty, unattainable object of desire.
And what did they use this lofty, divine, Platonic concept for?
The mental image of their crush.
No.
Yes. Idea became common, almost exclusively referring to the mental image of a beloved person. Instead of the form of justice in the heavens, they were talking about the form of Agnes's beautiful smile that they kept locked in their brain.
But they were intentionally choosing the word for the divine blueprint to describe their internal fantasy of a crush. Was that considered genuinely deep or just aggressively pretentious?
Oh, it was highbrow, but yes, absolutely a form of poetic pretension. Shakespeare writes about an idea sweetly creeping into his study of imagination, and Spenser locates the fair idea of your celestial hue directly in his heart.
So they literally relocated the eternal form of the good and shoved it into their chest cavity, right next to their emotional turmoil.
That's genuinely wild, isn't it? They took the supreme archetype and personalized it.
And some poets, like Michael Drayton, took it one step further and literally addressed his beloved by the name Idea in his sonnets.
He used a philosophical concept as a pet name.
Unbelievable.
The 17th century saw a huge jump in the word's use, but it was still dominated by philosophical texts and that relational structure, the idea of something. The Platonic echo was still loud.
Which sets the stage for the next philosophical hammer blow. In the 18th century, David Hume enters the chat and decides to perform the ultimate philosophical 180.
Right. He completely inverts Plato's entire hierarchy.
So Plato says the idea is primary and unchanging, Hume says.
Hume says that is utter crap. He does. As a great empiricist, he flips the script. He argues that impressions, your actual physical sensations, emotions, passions, are the original perceptions.
So the searing heat from the stove, the sudden rush of anger, that's primary and real.
Absolutely. They are more vivid, clear, and distinct, and they are, in his unique usage, innate because they are original and not copied from anything else.
So what's the idea then?
The idea is merely what happens later. Hume demoted the idea to being nothing more than a faint and bland image of the impressions in thinking and reasoning.
Wow.
Ideas are secondary copies. They've lost their force and vivacity, like a washed-out photocopy your brain made 3 weeks later.
That's a brutal takedown. He changed the word from meaning the blueprint to meaning the faded copy. And yet Hume had the sheer gall to claim he was restoring the word idea to its original sense, which is frankly ridiculous.
It is. But this raises a major question, and it's a brilliant nugget from your sources. Where did Hume get this highly specific inverted structure? This idea that vivid impressions are primary and ideas are secondary, faint copies.
Okay, wait for the plot twist. It's anatomical.
It is. The structure may have come from the logical doctrines of the renowned physician and anatomist William Harvey.
The blood circulation guy.
Yes, that guy. Harvey saw the singular impression of sensation as the exemplar, the prototype, and the subsequent idea retained in memory as the faint and confused copy.
So you're telling me one of the most foundational concepts of Western epistemology, the split that defined the Age of Enlightenment, might hinge entirely on a Renaissance doctor's notes on sensation and memory.
It's an absolutely bananas connection. It suggests Hume, who characterized his methodology as the anatomy of the human mind, was channeling the anatomist.
What the actual fuck?
And Hume himself complained explicitly that English didn't have a specific word for his notion of impression as a lively perception.
He was forced to use the word impression because the language didn't fit his new model. This strongly suggests he was working from a different conceptual framework, likely Harvey's Latin text.
In short, he broke the word, the entire concept, because English didn't have the specific technical vocabulary he needed.
And that leads us directly into modern linguistics. If Hume broke the philosophical core of the word, how the hell is it still the fifth most used abstract noun in English?
Because of sheer habit and brute utility. The word idea is an abstract noun with almost no fixed, tangible semantic features. It survives, as linguists like Sinclair claimed, by existing almost entirely within semi-preconstructed phrases.
It clings to predictable patterns for dear life.
Exactly. So the word itself is flimsy, but the container we put it in is rigid and strong.
Our source material confirms this beautifully. Analysis of modern corpora shows that nearly 3/4, so roughly 7 out of 10 singular uses of idea, fall into 6 specific fixed patterns.
We have successfully boxed in this chaotic philosophical beast.
Let's run through these 6 cages we built for the word idea. They define how we use it today.
Okay, type A is the dominant legacy usage, accounting for nearly half of all singular uses. This is the idea of structure.
The philosophical ghost.
Right. It still means concept or mental image. Think. We must abandon the very idea of war. It's monumental, stiff, and still Platonic in structure.
Type B is a sizable chunk at around 1 in 6 uses. The idea that or idea is that. This is how we express a belief. The idea that humans are separate entities is a modern invention.
Then we move into the more conversational territory. Type C, the idea element. This means knowledge, and it first appeared in the 18th century.
This is our everyday check. I have no idea where we are going.
Using a word that once meant absolute knowledge to admit total ignorance, the irony is delicious.
Then we hit the intentional, future-oriented types. Type D, the idea to or is to structure.
This signals aim or purpose. The whole idea is to eliminate the other players. This usage didn't even appear widely until the 19th century.
And finally, the 2 most casual, quick-fire uses, both dealing with inspiration. We have type E, the evaluative one, good, etc., idea.
Which looks backward at a concept that just happened and judges it. What a ridiculous idea that was.
And type F, the forward-looking one. Yeah. Get an idea. This is the big announcement. Wait, I've got an idea. Listen up.
And what's truly fascinating is how the medium dictates the usage. In written corpus stiff formal English, the legacy philosophical uses, like type A, still dominate.
But if we look at spoken corpora, like transcription data, type A shrinks significantly.
In casual chat, we use the newer forms, type D for aim and type E for evaluation, much more frequently. We're constantly saying, it's a good idea to, or that was a terrible idea.
The utility of those newer, shorter functional patterns just wins in speech.
Exactly. And just to use the proper linguistic terms for a second, type E is anaphoric. It references a previous idea to evaluate it.
You just proposed something, and I'm going to judge it.
And type F is cataphoric. It signals that an idea is about to be announced.
Tough talking. I better contribute.
The word's philosophical dignity is further destroyed by the final linguistic mechanism we use to keep it functional: metaphor.
Since idea is purely abstract, we have to constantly abuse it with metaphors just to make it make cognitive sense.
We engage in what is known as concretization. We talk about an abstract concept as if it were a concrete and tangible object.
We treat our thoughts like clumsy physical baggage.
And the sources show that linguistically, we map ideas onto 4 general source models. First, the idea as a portable object. This gives us expressions like I have dropped the idea, or an idea comes into one's mind.
It's a thing that can be moved or lost.
Second, the idea as an artifact, something that needs to be built. Use verbs like form an idea or an idea takes shape.
Third, the idea as property, dealing with ownership. This is where we give someone an idea or get hold of an idea.
And historically, though less common today, ideas were mapped onto plants. We see terms like a budding idea or the implantation of the idea.
You don't hear that so much anymore.
You really don't. And what's illuminating is watching these metaphors die out over time. For instance, the imprint metaphor, which was central to the tabula rasa, the mind as a blank slate, was productive in the 17th and 18th centuries.
So the idea was literally imprinted on the mind, like ink on paper?
Exactly. But it vanished, likely because everyday writing materials changed. The source analogy just became less relevant.
We sacrificed the poetically luminous idea for the idea you can just hold on to and drop.
And that's the ultimate linguistic truth. In spoken language, we use fewer of these complex, colorful metaphors. Instead, we rely on those established, simple collocations, type C, D, and E.
The predictable, rigid structure of the collocation, I have no idea, compensates for the lack of colorful, metaphorical language.
It prevents the abstract meaning from being left hanging in the air. We sacrifice the poet's creativity for the certainty of getting the meaning across quickly.
So to wrap up this surprisingly dramatic history of a 5-letter word, the journey of idea is the story of philosophical ambition getting crushed by linguistic necessity.
It started as Plato's perfect, divine, unchanging form, the supreme archetype.
But then it got wildly downsized, becoming the internal mental image of your crush in Elizabethan poetry.
Then David Hume flipped the entire conceptual table, declaring the idea to be merely a faint, secondary photocopy of real sensory input.
Potentially based on notes from an anatomist.
Right. And finally, in modern English, we have disciplined this wild philosophical beast by locking it into those 6 predictable, rigid boxes, the collocations, that account for most of how we use it today.
A concept, a belief, or a brilliant inspiration.
And the word idea is a perfect illustration of how philosophy and linguistics diverge. Philosophers tried to define it as the highest, purest, most abstract reality imaginable. But for the word to actually function in everyday speech, it had to be reduced, objectified, boxed, and treated like a clumsy, portable object.
The utility of language, that need for rapid, understandable connection, always wins over the purity of abstract thought.
Oh.
So next time you say, I have no idea what you're talking about, just remember that you are simultaneously betraying Plato, siding with the guy who defined blood circulation, and relying on a conversational shortcut that was standardized so you could sound slightly less ridiculous.
If you enjoyed dragging this highfalutin abstract concept down to earth with us, make sure to like and subscribe to Mr. Ms. English wherever you find your deep dives.
We'll see you next time.